Hello students, welcome once again. Today we are going to do the famous story Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, I think most of you know what the story is. For the ones you don't know, pay good attention to it. A boy plants a tree and it grows so high it leads him to a castle. So let's see what happens. Once upon a time, there was a poor widow who lived in a little cottage with her only son Jack. देखिए बच्चों, स्पोकन इंग्लिश का वीडियो है, तो आपको इंग्लिश थोड़ी थोड़ी तो समझ में आनी ही चाहिए. मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि आप 100% करो. अगर आपको कोई वर्ड समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो वीडियो को पॉज कीजिए और डिक्शनरी में इसका मीनिंग ढूंढिए, फिर आप कंटिन्यू कीजिए. यहाँ पे मैं आपको क्या सिखा रही हूँ, वर्ड्स को कैसे बोलना है, प्रोनाउंस कैसे करना है, कैसे रीड करना है. ठीक है, तो आपको ये समझना है. मैं एंड में हिंदी में एक समरी भी दूंगी स्टोरी की, पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप ये वीडियो नहीं देखोगे. आपको देखना है और सारे वर्ड्स को अंडरस्टैंड करना है, सुनना है कि हमें इसको कैसे बोलना है, इसका मीनिंग क्या है. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि किसी को इंग्लिश बिल्कुल नहीं आती है, थोड़ी थोड़ी भी आती हो तो मैं सिंपल वर्ड्स में समझाती हूँ तो आपको समझ में आएगा. ठीक है, जब ये स्टोरी पूरी ख़त्म हो जाए उसके बाद आपको मुझे एक ऑडियो सेंड करना है, ये स्टोरी के समरी वाला. ये शॉर्ट में आपको ये स्टोरी इंग्लिश में बोल के मुझे ऑडियो सेंड करना है. ठीक है, तो चलो शुरू करते हैं. Once upon a time there was a poor widow. What's a widow? Widow मतलब विधवा, who lived in a little cottage with her only son Jack. So there was a widow. She had a son named Jack. Jack was giddy, thoughtless boy, but very kind-hearted and affectionate. Now, Jack was someone who liked to laugh. He did not think a lot. He was a good boy. He had a very good heart. He got attached, or he felt bad for others when they were sad. There had been a hard winter, and after it the poor woman had suffered from fever. So, in the winter season, when it was very cold, this time the winter was very harsh. The woman became sick, that is, the mother became sick, she had fever. Jack did no work as yet, and they grew dreadfully poor. Now, Jack was not working, and his mom was sick. They didn't have anything. The widow saw that there was no means of keeping Jack and herself from starvation but by selling her cow. So one morning she said to her son, "I'm too weak to go myself, Jack, so you must take the cow to the market for me and sell her." So she knew that Jack could not do the work, and they cannot starve, they cannot stay hungry forever. So she decided to sell her cow. She could not go to the market, so she told her son Jack, "Please go and sell this cow in the market." Jack liked going to the market to sell the cow very much, but as he was on the way, he met a butcher who had some beautiful beans in his hand. So when he was going, he liked to go to market. On the way he saw a butcher. You know what's a butcher? A butcher is someone who cuts meat and sells it. That is the parts of an animal and sells it. Now, he had very good beans in his hand. Jack stopped to look at them. The butcher told the boy that they were of great value and pursued. Pursued means to make him sell the cow for them. So he told that boy, "You know, these seeds are very good. They are very important. Give me the cow and I'll give you some seeds." Now, as you know, Jack was not smart. Jack was so silly as to agree to his foolish bargain. Bargain means he thought that it is a very good deal. And Jack was a small boy. When he brought them home to his mother instead of the money, she expected her for her nice cow. She was very angry, shed many tears, scolding Jack for his folly. Now, when he came home, his mother was waiting for money, but there was no money. She became angry. She started crying. She told him so many things because he was not, smart enough. He was very sorry, but he said he might as well make the best of it. So he put the seed beans into the ground close by the side of the steep hill, under shelter of which their cottage was built, and went to bed. He felt very bad. Now he thought, what can I do? I've already sold the cow. I have the beans. So let me plant them near the house. Next morning, when he got up, he found that the beans had grown till the beanstalks reached right over the top of the hill and were lost to his sight. So in the morning, the beans trees, that is the stalks, had grown very tall. They had even grown taller than the hill. Greatly surprised, he called his mother, and they both gazed in silent wonder at the beanstalk. Now, the mother and son were surprised. Oh my God, such a big tree, which was not only of great height but was thick enough to bear Jack's weight. And it was very big that Jack could climb it. See how the mother and son are looking at the tree, or that stalk. I wonder where it goes, said Jack to his mother. I think I will climb up and see. His mother wished him not to go up this strange ladder, but Jack coaxed her to agree to the attempt, for he was sure there must be something wonderful in the beanstalk. Now, he tried to pursue his mom. He told him, Mommy, please let me go. Don't worry. I want to see what is on top. Jack instantly, that is at that moment, began to climb and went up on the ladder like Bean till everything he had left behind him. The cottage, the village, and even the tall church tower looked quite little, and still he did not see the top of the beanstalk. Now what happens? Jack is climbing up that bean tree. He can see their house, their village, their church. Everything was becoming small, but the stalk was still going on. So he was climbing and climbing up. Jack felt a little tired and thought for a moment that he would go back again. But he was very persevering boy. Persevering means he was determined. He had decided, I will go up. I'm not going to give up that easily, even if he was tired. He knew that the way to succeed in everything is not to give up. He knew that if he wanted it, he had to work hard for it. So after resting for a moment, he went on and at last reached the top of the bean and found himself in a beautiful country, fine wooded, and not far from the place where he had gone off the beanstalk stood a fine strong castle. So when he reached the upper part, there was land again. It was a beautiful country. There was a big castle, that is the king's house. Jack wondered very much that he had never heard of or seen this castle before. But when he reflected on the subject, he saw that it was much separated from the village by the perpendicular rock on which it stood, as if it were on land. So it looked like it was something very different on a big rock. While Jack was standing looking at the castle, a very strange looking woman came out of the wood and advanced towards him. So when he was looking at the castle, a lady came out of it. She was different and she was coming towards him. Jack took off his hat to the old lady and she said, pointing to the castle, "Boy, that castle belongs to you. A wicked giant killed your father and took it from your mother. Try and win it back from the monster who now has it." As she ceased speaking, she suddenly disappeared, and of course, Jack knew she was a fairy. Now, he tried to pay respect to the lady, and the lady said, "This is your castle. Your father was the king. Like this belongs to your father. The monster took it from your mother after killing your father." And she disappeared. So Jack knew that this was a fairy. He was much surprised. However, he walked up to the castle door and knocked, and an old giantess came out. She did not wait till he spoke, but pulled him in at once, for she thought he would make a nice supper for her when her husband was asleep. Now, when he knocked at the door, there was a giantess, that is, a lady giant. She took him. She thought that after her husband goes to sleep, she would eat this boy. Just at that moment, however, she heard the giant step approaching. So she put Jack into a press and told him to hide there, or the giant would eat him. As soon as the ogre came in, he cried in a terrible voice. Now, here, crying does not mean leaking water from the eyes, but shouting. So, the giantess decided to hide him. And that time, the ogre came. Ogre is a monster with one eye. Fee fa fee fo foom. I smell the breath of an Englishman. Now the giant is saying, "Fee fa fe fo foom. I smell someone." "Oh," said his wife, "there is nobody here. You can only smell a crow that is flying over the chimney." Then the giant sat down to dinner, which was quite ready, and when he had eaten the whole sheep, he said, "Bring me my hen." So his wife said, "No, no, there is no one. It's just a crow on the chimney." After eating dinner, he said, "Bring my hen." The giantess bought a hen and put it on the table before him, and then she went away. So she gave him his hen and went away. "Lay," said the giant to the hen, and she laid a golden egg. Jack could see quite plainly through a little hole which he had bored in the door. 3 times the giant said, "Lay," and each time the hen laid a solid gold egg. Then the ogre, being drowsy, shut his eyes and soon snored very loudly. So the ogre demanded 3 eggs from the hen, and it laid golden eggs. The ogre became tired and he fell asleep. Directly Jack found that the giant was asleep. He stole out of the press, caught up the hen, ran out of the room, opened the door of the castle which the giant had left slightly open, climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could. So he took the hen and ran away and went home. His mother was glad to see him again, and much surprised at seeing the hen, which laid them 3 golden eggs every day. Jack's mother took them to the next town and sold them, and soon grew quite rich. So, every day the hen would give them 3 gold eggs, and slowly they became rich. Some time afterwards, Jack made another journey up the beanstalk to the giant's castle, but first he dyed his hair and distinguished himself. So now, the next time he's going, he has changed his looks. So no one can know it was him. The old woman did not know him again and dragged him in as she had done before to eat him by and by. But once more she heard her husband coming and hid him in the press, not thinking that it was the same boy who had stolen the hen. She put him into the same press and told him to stay quite still there, and the giant would eat him, or the giant would eat him. So again it's the same process. She could not recognize him, and the giant came. "Fee fa fee fo foom. I smell the breath of an Englishman." Again he's saying, I smell someone. And the wife is like, oh, it is only the cowherd who has just been here. We can spare him for our dinner. Then the giant sat down, and when he had eaten half an ox, he told his wife to bring his money bags to him. She instantly went and fetched 2 large bags full of gold, and then left him to go about her usual housework. So the ogre told her, bring my money bags after dinner. And she went away after giving it to him. The ogre counted out the gold twice over and then put it in the bags and tied them up. In a few minutes, Jack heard him snore. He directly crept out of the press, grabbed the bags, and hurried out of the castle, carried them home quite safely. So again, he took the gold and ran away. Jack's mother was glad to see him safe at home again, and for a long time she would not let him go up the beanstalk. But Jack knew he had not yet obeyed the fairy's command to win back the castle. So after a time he set off once more on his adventure, tapped again at the castle's door. So his mother felt like, now my son doesn't need to go up. But he had other plans because that was his father's castle and he wanted it back, like the fairy told him that it belonged to him. The giantess, who was very stupid, did not recognize him again, but she stopped a minute before she took him in. She feared another robbery. Jack's fresh cheeks looked so tempting that she could not resist him, so she told him, come in. Now again the giantess did not recognize him, but she was scared. What if this is also a thief? But she still let him in. But at that moment she heard her husband's step approaching. Afraid of losing her supper, the ogress at once shut Jack in the press, and she had hardly hidden him when the giant came. And again he said, fee fa foo fo foom. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Oh no, it's only the shepherd who has been up with the sheep for your dinner. And she lied to him. It's just the person who takes care of animals. The giant sat down, and when he had eaten a whole sheep, he said, I should like some music. Bring me my harp. And he said, bring my harp. I want to listen to music. So she gave it to him, and it went away. Now, the harp used to play by itself, by and by. However, the giant snored so loud that he could not hear the music, and Jack quickly stole out, and seizing the harp, ran away with it. But the harp was a fairy belonging to the giant, and as the Jack ran, it cried out, Master, Master! The giant woke up slowly and rushed after Jack, but the boy was very nimble and outran him. You may imagine how fast Jack went down the beanstalk this time. Now, when the harp was playing the music, again the ogre fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, what happened? Yeah, Jack decided to take the harp, but the harp belonged to the giant and it was a fairy. So it started shouting, Master, Master, and giant woke up. Jack ran so fast. May imagine how fast Jack went down the beanstalk this time, hearing all the while the tramp of the giant's feet behind him, because the giant was running fast behind him. Just as he reached the bottom, he saw the ogre looking down on him. The next moment, his great feet were on the beanstalk. Mother, mother, bring me the axe, cried Jack. His mother hurried with it, and just as the giant was halfway down the beanstalk, Jack succeeded in chopping it in halves. The lower half fell, the upper half swung away, and the giant, losing his hold, fell heavily on the ground, on his head, and broke his neck. Now, they were running and Jack was almost down. He called his mother to bring an axe to cut the tree, the stalk. And when he cut the stalk, the lower part fell down and the upper part was hanging. And this way the giant fell down and died because he broke his neck. The same moment the fairy again stood beside Jack, and touching the beanstalk was turning into a flight of broad easy steps. Go up and take your possession of your own home, so long kept from you. The ogress is dead and there is no more danger. You have been brave and good. May you be happy. Now, after all this, the fairy came and told them and touched the beanstalk, and it turned into stairs, and told the boy, Jack, that is Jack, go up. Now it's your kingdom. You deserve it because you were very good and brave. Jack thanked the fairy very warmly for her aid, and she again departed to fairyland after explaining to Jack that it was her in the form of that butcher who sold him the beans. And she told him that it was I was that butcher who sold you those beans because I knew you would do this and because it belonged to you. अब हमने ये स्टोरी पूरी समझ ली इंग्लिश में. मैं आपको इसकी समरी देती हूँ. जैक और उसकी मम्मी साथ में रहते थे. उनकी मम्मी विधवा थे और विंटर में उनकी मम्मी की हालत बहुत ख़राब हो गई, जैक के मम्मी की, और उनको काऊ बेचनी पड़ी. तो जब उन्होंने बोला जैक को कि बेटा आप जाके ये काऊ को बेच के आओ और पैसे लाओ. और जैक कैसा था, उसको दुनियादारी की समझ नहीं थी और वो कभी कुछ ज़्यादा सोचता नहीं था. जब वो रास्ते में जा रहा था तो वहाँ पे उसको एक बुचर मिला. बुचर मतलब जो जानवरों को काट के बेचता हो. और उसने बोला कि मेरे पास बहुत स्पेशल बीन्स हैं, क्या उसके बदले में क्या मुझे ये तुम्हारी काऊ मिल सकती है. तो जैक को लगा हाँ ये अच्छे बीन्स होंगे. जब वो घर जाता है और उसकी मम्मी को ये बीन्स दिखाता है तो उसकी मम्मी बहुत गुस्सा हो जाती है, रोने लगती है कि तुम पैसे नहीं लाए, ये सिर्फ बीन्स लाए. तो अब जैक को ऐसा लगा क्या करे, अब जो है उससे तो काम चलाए. तो उसने वो बीन्स ग्रो किए. जैक ने वो बीन्स हिल के पास प्लांट कर दी और सुबह जब वो उठे तब वो बीन स्टॉक इतना लंबा हो गया था और वो उसको लगा कि मैं चलो देखता हूँ ऊपर क्या है. जब वो ऊपर जाता है तब वहाँ पे एक महल देखता है और वहाँ उनको एक फेरी मिलती है और वो बोलती है कि राज्य आपके पापा का था और ये जायंट ने या फिर ओगरे ने आपके पापा को मार दिया और ये सब कुछ ले लिया. तो अब ये तुम्हारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि तुम ये सब कुछ वापस ले लो. तो जैसे ही वो अंदर जाता है, नॉक करता है, तब जायंट की वाइफ आती है और उसको लगता है मैं इसको, मेरे पति सो जाएंगे उसके बाद इसको खा जाऊंगी. तो वो उसको छुपा देती है. जायंट जब खाना खा लेता है तब उसकी वाइफ को बोलता है मेरा हैन लेके आओ, मुर्गी लेके आओ. जब वो मुर्गी लाती है तो वो उनको दे के चली जाती है और जैक ने देखा कि ये मुर्गी सोने के अंडे देती थी. तो जब ओगरे सो गया तब उसने वो मुर्गी वो लेके चला आया उसके घर और उसकी मम्मी ने देखा कि हर रोज़ 3 सोने के अंडे देती थी ये मुर्गी और उन्होंने ये बेच के फिर वो अमीर हो गए. पर जैक को ऐसा लग रहा था मैं वापस जाऊँ. जब वो दूसरी बार जाता है तो अपना भेस बदल के जाता है ताकि कोई उसको पहचाने नहीं. फिर से वही जायंट की वाइफ को पता नहीं चला, उसको छुपा देती है और जब जायंट सो जाता है खा लेता है तब उसकी वाइफ को बोलता है मेरे सोने के सिक्के लाओ, मुझे गिनने हैं. तो वो लाती है, फिर अपना काम करती है और चली जाती है. तब जैक जब ये जायंट सो जाता है तब वो सारे सोने के सिक्के जो बैग में भरे थे वो लेके भाग जाता है. तीसरी बार जब वो आता है तो अपना फिर से पूरा लुक चेंज करके आता है और तब जायंट की वाइफ को थोड़ी परेशानी थी कि कहीं ये भी चोरी ना कर ले, पर फिर भी वो उसको लेके जाती है अंदर। इस बार खाना खाने के बाद जायंट ने क्या मांगा? हार्प। ये इसको हार्प कहते हैं। उसने हार्प मांगा। अब वो हार्प गाने लगा तो ये जायंट सोने लगा। जब ऐसा लगा कि ये जायंट सो रहा है तो जैक ने क्या किया? हार्प उठा के भागने लगा। पर ये हार्प एक फेरी थी, परी थी, जो जायंट की थी। तो उसने चिल्लाना शुरू किया, मालिक मालिक। और जायंट उठ गया और जैक के पीछे भागने लगा। तो जैक बहुत फुल स्पीड में भागता है और नीचे पहुंच जाता है। उसकी मम्मी को चिल्लाता है कि मम्मी एक्स लेके आओ, कुल्हाड़ी लेके आओ, ताकि मैं ये पेड़ को काट दूं। और ये उसको काट देता है और जायंट ऊपर से नीचे गिर के अपना नेक तोड़ देता है और वहीं पे दम तोड़ देता है। फिर परी आती है और जैक को कहती है कि जाओ, अब ये राज्य तुम्हारा है। वो जब स्टॉक को टच करती है तो वो क्या बन जाते हैं? स्टेयर्स। दैट्स ऑल। तो आपको ये स्टोरी मुझे इंग्लिश में समराइज करके अपने वर्ड्स में ऑडियो फॉर्म में मुझे सेंड करना है कल सुबह 10 बजे से पहले। दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे। बाय बाय।